if you look at Jim Schwartz's scheme and what the Eagles like to do defensively, Jadeveon Clowney is a fit. It's kind of a perfect fit, to be honest with you. Jim Schwartz likes to rush with 4 and drop back 7. He puts a lot of stress on that defensive line, not only getting after the quarterback, but in run defense as well. If you're rushing with 4 and dropping back 7, and you're playing coverage most of the time, puts a lot of stress on those defensive ends in run defense. Brandon Graham, as we know, one of the best run defenders in the league. But if you had to ask me who the best run defender in the league is when it comes to defensive ends or edge rushers, it's Jadeveon Clowney. Played 3-4 last year for Houston, but he can slide all over the line. If you want him to rush from inside on 3rd down, he can do that. He's ridiculously strong. The hand usage, just that bull rush is unbelievable. He just throws guards and centers aside. But when he rushes from the edge, he can bend the corner too. He can get the edge. So you look at the fit and you look at everything and what Jadeveon Clowney brings to the table. The bull rush, the rip throughs, bending the edge, the power. He's destructive. He knows how to use his hands. He fits what the Eagles like to do. Now here's the problem. Here's the big problem. If you bring Jadeveon Clowney in, you're going to have to pay him. And it's been reported that Jadeveon Clowney wants over $100 million. And this is a problem that Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports believes in. He doesn't think that the Eagles are going to go after Clowney because of this very reason, because of the money. So let's look at the NFL and as a whole, and let's see who's actually making $100 million. There's 15 players who are making over 100. 7 of them are non-quarterbacks. So when you run through those names, it's Khalil Mack, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, DeMarcus Lawrence, Frank Clark, Fletcher Cox, and J.J. Watt. Do I think that Jadeveon Clowney is in the same category as DeMarcus Lawrence and Frank Clark? I do not. While I believe that he's a better run defender, I think these two bring a lot more when it comes to rushing the quarterback. And in terms of being $100 million player, I don't think Jadeveon Clowney is. I don't think he's one of the top 15 players in the league. Now, the guys who are making $100 million plus are not the top 15 players in the league. Jimmy Garoppolo is one of those guys. But I don't value him that high. And not only do I not value him that high, you also have Carson Wentz, who just signed a $128 million contract, and Fletcher Cox is making over $100 million. So you would have 3 players on your roster making over $100 million. I know Howie is the salary cap wizard, but my God, this would be really difficult to really navigate your roster. So I understand it's like you lost Chris Long during the offseason. He retired. You traded Michael Bennett. You might think that you want some depth at defensive end. But when I look at it, there's some depth potentially. When you look at some of the guys, Deshaun Hall, I mean, he's been the story of preseason. Josh Sweat is another one. And then we've had a little bit with Sharif Miller. Obviously, Derek Barnett is somebody who a lot of people are projecting to have a breakout season. And if you trade for Clowney, all of a sudden, what does that say about Barnett? Because you'd have Clowney and BG starting. You wouldn't have Barnett starting. So all of a sudden, he's heading into a pivotal year for him, and he wouldn't start. I am not buying the Clowney stuff as much as other people. Watch what's going to happen. He's probably going to get traded to the Eagles tomorrow because this is the way it works on YouTube for me. I say something's not going to happen, and then it happens. So we'll see about that. But the Eagles, they have the 3rd oldest roster in the NFL. And when you look at what you have to do to trade for Clowney, you're going to have to give up some draft picks. So Eagles have the 3rd oldest roster in the NFL. and you got money tied up to two guys who are making over $100 million. There's a lot of now, I know there's a lot of open cap space for this season, and you can definitely bring Jadeveon Clowney in for this season. But you look at the draft picks, going back to that conversation, they're going to be imperative in the next 5 or so years because of the contracts that Wentz and Cox are making. And you also have a roster that's the third oldest in the NFL. So if you want to keep the window open, keeping the window open longer, if you want to keep it open longer, actually not trading for Jadeveon Clowney would be the right move. But if you really want to go all in right now and you want to bring Clowney in and you think he's like the final piece of the puzzle and you want to try to win Super Bowl right this season and not really care about the rest, then okay, I guess you want to bring him in now. But I don't like that 3 guys would be making over $100 million on the roster. Now, with that being said, there were some crazy rumors over the weekend. Pro Football Network suggesting that Alshon Jeffery might be getting traded. Now, here's the tweet itself. Trade talk is picking up. Keep an eye on guys like Kenny Stills and Alshon Jeffery, who also know about Jadeveon Clowney and Trent Williams. Miami Dolphins are a strong player for Clowney right now. So this tweet was on August 23rd. And because of all the feedback to Jeffery, they actually tweeted a day later, and they said this: "We have gotten a lot of feedback on this tweet, especially around Alshon Jeffery. We are not suggesting anything is imminent, but instead to simply keep an eye on this. There has been a lot of smoke around this lately, and this time of year, lots of names came up." So this isn't a rumor. This isn't something they heard. This is merely a suggestion. This isn't something that is official. This isn't something that's being reported. This, again, is like an opinion. And people took this tweet, and it got blown out of proportion. Bleeding Green Nation did an article on it. And, when you look at the math, Alshon Jeffery is making the most money this season, $14 million cap hit. So if you want to free up cap space, I mean, he's the guy to trade, but I just don't see how they would trade him now. I mean, I know you got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and he's the heir apparent, but not right now. No. So the only reason why you would trade Jeffery is to open up the money so you can bring Clowney in. But the problem with that is Houston, they already have DeAndre Hopkins. They have Will Fuller. I know he's injury prone. Kiki QT looks like he's pretty good for them. So why would they want Alshon Jeffery? They need a tackle. They need offensive line help. They need Mailata. They need Big V. I don't think they would need a wide receiver. I mean, if they wanted to take Nelson Aguilar, sure, but all right. So those are my thoughts there when it pertains to Alshon Jeffery. And, those are my thoughts as a whole. So Clowney, to me, I think he's a fit for the defense. I think he fits what Jim Schwartz likes to do. But when you look at the whole picture and the amount of money that he's asking for, and when you look at the rest of the roster and how everything is fit together, it doesn't look like it's a fit. What I would suggest, and something that I would actually do, if the price tag isn't too high, I would actually be for bringing Jadeveon Clowney in for the season and not extending him. There's no guarantee that he's going to extend, and the deadline for that has passed. But if you can get Clowney for a minimal price, say say a 3rd round pick and Big V or something. Big V, Nelson Aguilar, and like a 3rd round pick. If you can get Jadeveon Clowney for that, I would actually recommend the Eagles keep him for the season, win the Super Bowl, and then let him go. That's the way I would play it. I wouldn't extend him. And you can bring him in for the season. They have the cap space to do that. So that conversation I would be actually kind of about. But in terms of giving him a $100 million contract and him being the third Eagle to make over $100 million and limiting the amount of cap space for everybody else, well, that to me is a problem. That to me is an issue. That to me isn't going to work, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on the Clowney situation. I would be hesitant. I'd be a little wary about going after him. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? I'm Adrian Fedkiw. I'm out. First video back, like true video back. Like last night was just fooling around. But this was fun. I'm back. Yes. See you later.